Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel, and I am the Starlight Witch. Today, I want to talk about my months of August and September. If you are not new to my channel, then you probably noticed that I have been very quiet for a little while. And yeah, there have been reasons for that. But well, let's start with the nice bit. August was a really good month for me. Um, it was a month that I spent doing a lot of things that I really enjoy. I have um, been reading a lot. I was sewing again, which I hadn't done in a while. I kept uh, doing my crochet, and it was just a really good month in that sense. I had a lot of ideas for both of my channels. I filmed a number of videos and posted quite a bit of them. I was making a lot of content and all that jazz, and it was really good. It was really good, and I enjoyed that month pretty much, really. And then September came, and it came with a bang, to say the least. Um, right on the day of the eclipse, on the 7th, my mom passed away. And I have been dealing with grief ever since. It wasn't it wasn't very sudden. My mom had been ill for about 8 years or so with a very complicated uh, degenerative neurological disease. So um, her body was shutting down, and she needed a lot of care. She needed a great deal of care, and she also started dealing with dementia. So we lost her bit by bit over the years, and it wasn't easy, but it got very ugly over the last few months. I thought that we had just got a new normal that was not pleasant, but it was what could be expected of her conditions. But she passed away at the beginning of September. So I'm pretty sure that I don't really have to say a lot about that. And everyone can very easily understand how I've been feeling and the things that I have been dealing with. And even though my grief is, I suppose, in a way, sort of strange due to her health, due to her health conditions, words. Those words are hard in a row. Um, and I have been losing her for years. The truth is that the pain is still there, and I'm pretty sure that I don't have to say much. On the good side, I did get to travel and see my brother, which I didn't think I would have the opportunity to do this year, because this year has been kicking me quite hard. It has given me some respite between said kicks, but the kicks have been so hard that I've needed some time to recover. And so I didn't think I'd get to see my brother this year or meet my nephew as a little baby. Um, I have two nephews now. One that is 7. He turned 7 in March, and another one that was born just very recently on the 6th of August. So that was also something really happy that happened. I didn't think I'd get the chance to meet him this year, but with losing our mom, my brother bought me tickets to spend a week or so with him. He lives in Germany, and so I got to go away and not be alone um, for about a week and a half, and I got to meet my nephew, and it was the most delightful little experience to see him as a baby. I haven't seen a baby in many many years, so it was really nice to have the opportunity to meet him as a cute little munchkin. He did ask me not to share pictures of my nephew on social media, so I cannot um, share his cuteness with you, but just know that he is the cutest little boy with chubby cheeks, and he's just the cutest. I'm just gonna leave it at that. But yeah, I am slowly coming back to regular life, I suppose. And it feels really weird, but at the same time, it feels right because I know that my mom would not want me to stay depressed for a long time. She was um, a very lively woman. She was the kind of person that lit up a room and that always went after everything she wanted. And I know that she will want me to keep going. And I don't know. So here I am. I have been watching some recent content from all of you because I haven't even been doing that for a long time. And I've been commenting on your videos lately. I've been trying to make my way back. I even edited and posted a video that I filmed over a month ago. And yeah, I guess that was sort of easing myself into uh, doing this again. I guess that I should probably just talk about the things that I usually share with you in these videos, which is the books that I've read and the decks that I worked with and the new decks that I got. I recently learned, well, not recently, but like over a month ago, I finally learned how to put timestamps on my videos. So I will probably put those in the description box and you can skip ahead if you're not interested in the books and the journals because I will um, be showing those. If you just want to go straight to the decks, you can totally do that. So let's get started with the books. August was a great reading month. I read 7 books, which for me is quite a lot. So I'm very happy with that, very pleased with myself. And I started with Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard series, which is a middle grade series of books written by Riordan, the same author of the Percy Jackson series and the Heroes of Olympus series. which is also based on Percy Jackson. So I absolutely adore those books. And last year I read the Kane Chronicles by the same author. I'm pretty sure that most of you must be familiar with that, but Percy Jackson is middle grade books that are based on Greek mythology, and the Kane Chronicles is a trilogy that is based on Egyptian mythology. These ones here exist in the same universe, but it is a trilogy that is based on Norse mythology. And I really enjoy those books. I didn't binge them one after the other because I was getting the audiobooks from the library, and unfortunately, they were not readily available right after I finished the previous book in the series. But I highly recommend them. They were very fun and funny, although they did touch on certain sensible themes. This particular trilogy tackles homelessness and the loss of a parent and things like that. So I really love Rick Riordan's books, and so yeah, this was actually a lot of fun. It was a great deal of fun. I binged them super quickly, usually 2 or 3 days for each book, sometimes not even. But yeah, it was at least 2 days. And it was really, really enjoyable. They These books are fantastic for getting you acquainted with the mythology, with a certain pantheon of gods and goddesses from the old days. And the one thing as a witch that sometimes works with the old gods and all that jazz is that they do tend to present them in a very humorous manner. So it's a little hard to take them seriously sometimes in the books, but I really do love and enjoy these author and almost all of his works. And yeah, these books were really cool. I've always been more drawn to the Greek and Egyptian pantheons, not so much the Norse one, but after reading these books, I do feel a much stronger curiosity and some connection to this pantheon. So I will probably be reading more about it and, getting more invested into this particular pantheon of gods. I also finished the Stalking Jack the Ripper series, which I've been reading in previous months. I finally read the final book, which is Capturing the Devil. It is written by Kerri Maniscalco, and it was one of my favorite books in the series. I think it was very captivating. I actually binged it in one day. So that was actually really good. And as usual, these are basically they are young adult, and they are murder mysteries based on Victorian era. This one takes place in the United States. Um, it's the first one that takes place in that country from this series, and they go a little bit around New York and then in Chicago, and it's really cool, really interesting. It was a rather satisfying conclusion to the series, and it surprisingly changed the events and everything that takes place in previous books. But I'm going to like not give you any spoilers, but I really enjoy that series. So if you like young adult and if you like um, mysteries and historical fiction and things like that, I really do recommend this series. And I also did have, I mean, before I usually just pick books from my TBR and things like that. But in between books, when I was waiting for certain ones to be available on the library, I decided to just like search for books that might be interesting. And so I went into Libby, the library app, and basically just typed witch and see what came up, because this year I've really been into witchy books. Last year it was all about nonfiction. This year I barely touched a nonfiction book. I mean, I do have a couple. Well, I have like one, two, three, and four, and I think that's it. And the rest has been um, overwhelmingly fiction. But I have been really into cozy fantasies and reading all the witchy books ever. And I found this one which I hadn't heard about before. It's called Playing the Witch Card, and it's by KJ Dell'Antonia. And it was a cool book. It's contemporary, cozy sort of witchy fiction. It's about um, a witch, obviously. And you're gonna have to forgive me here because I seem to be forgetting what happens in books very shortly after I finish them, which is very frustrating because I used to remember everything. But nowadays, I find that I forget these things rather quickly. um, okay, this book is about a witch. She has recently divorced her husband, and she takes her teenage daughter and goes back to the small town where she came from. And I think that she takes over a family business, a tea shop that used to belong to her grandma. And she is a baker, so she sort of turns it into a bakery and starts, um, sort of a new life for herself. But her daughter is not pleased to have moved to this small town, and she's not all that happy to be back in her hometown and all that jazz. And so she starts discovering some family secrets, and I do have to say that I enjoyed it. It was a nice book. I do think that near the end it got far too twisted, like they put too many things, too many twists there at the end, but it was an enjoyable book. I think it's going to have some sort of a sequel, which I was not prepared for. I thought that it was a standalone, but I think with the way that it ended, it's definitely not a standalone. And at some point, if it doesn't already, is going to have a sequel. I'm gonna have to look into that because I think that with everything that happened to me in the month of September, I forgot. But yeah, I'm gonna have to look into that. It's not my favorite that I've read this year, but it's still a pretty good one. Um, and so I didn't think that I would need to go into the second page, but I do. I was, after finishing, uh, yeah, after finishing the Magnus Chase and Gods of Asgard series, I was able to finish, well, not really finished because that whole series is not finished yet, but I was able to read the last available book in the Saint of Steel series, which is by T. Kingfisher, and it's Paladin's Faith. Probably you've heard about T. Kingfisher. She's become really popular um, because she is amazing. I saw everyone and their grandma raving about her for years, but I never actually read any of her books. And this year, I'm a fan. I'm a huge fan. I may count me in and obsessed. And especially with this series, the Saint of Steel series, which is fantasy, cozy fantasy, and it focuses on a group of paladins whose god has died. I've talked about the previous books in previous monthly wrap ups because I've read them all in the last few months. And this one is the last available one. It's meant to be a 7-book series, but only 4 are out so far. And I saw somewhere, I think it might have been Instagram, that she is aiming to get the 5th book out around December this year. If not, it will probably be out early next year, and I am eagerly awaiting that release. This one was fantastic. It's the longest one so far. It focuses on Steven. No, not Steven. Steven is the first one. Oh my god. See, I've seemed to have forgotten everything. But Steven is the first one. He's from Paladin's Grace. Then was Isban on Paladin's Strength. Then it was Galen on Paladin's Hope. And this one, he has a similar name. That's why. Uh, Shane. That's his name. Shane. It starts with an S as well. Yeah, it focuses on Shane, who was first a trainee of the Dream God. Yeah, it was a dream. He was first a trainee for the Dream God, but he wasn't claimed by him, so he ended up being claimed by the Saint of Steel. And he's particularly brooding. Like, I mean, Steven himself, which I think it's one of my favorites, was very brooding himself, but this guy is worse. But I really did enjoy his point of view, and he is coupled with Antoinette, which is a really interesting character that we meet in the first book. And this book is amazing. And it's really, really interesting. She's a spy, he's a paladin, and he gets assigned to protect her as she basically solves a mystery to, I don't know if clear her name is the right term, but she's trying to outsmart some people who want her dead. And so they get tangled in court shenanigans and things like that. And I love this book. I really did. I super love this series and it's fantastic. This one, though, is adult and it does have some smut. So um, don't give it to your teenagers, but definitely read it if you're interested. I super love these books. And I don't know, I think that books number 1 and 2 are still my favorites, but I have enjoyed every single book in this series. It's absolutely fantastic. Then I went back. Well, actually, I started this one, the Gingerbread Witch, before I started Paladin's Faith. And then Paladin's Faith became available in the library, and I put that one on pause and devoured um, Paladin's Faith. And then I decided to finish The Gingerbread Witch. This is another middle grade book. I thought it was really cool. It's about a teenage witch And she actually is the adoptive daughter of the witch that lives in the candy house, in the gingerbread house, in the tale of Hansel and Gretel. And this book is a twist on the tale of Hansel and Gretel. In this book, these two kids are actually witch hunters that come from a family of witch hunters. But the little girl that actually is the main character of this book is a trainee witch, and she's the adoptive daughter of the witch that lives in the gingerbread house. And then at the beginning of the book, their house gets assaulted by witch hunters, Hansel and Gretel to be more specific. And she gets well pushed into the oven and all of that. But in this particular tale, a witch is not really dead unless you drown her ashes. And so she recovered. Agatha was the name of the witch, and I still cannot remember the name of the kid. But anyway, she recovers the witch's ashes from the oven and then she goes on a quest to try and revive her. And in doing so, she gets tangled with the witch hunters and becomes reluctant friends with Gretel. And so it was a really cool tale. It was a very entertaining book. She has two sidekicks. One is a really cute gingerbread squirrel because this witch used to make creatures, living creatures, out of gingerbread. And so she has her bestie is a really sassy gingerbread squirrel, which I really adored, and a wolf. But he is actually a wolf, not made out of gingerbread. He's just a traditional wolf. And it's really, really cool. And it is called the Gingerbread Witch because she herself is made out of gingerbread. So it was rather nice. They don't have the second book because this so far is a duology, but they don't have the second book in my library, so I'm just waiting to be notified when they get it because I do want to continue with the story. It's really cool. And so these were all the books that I read in August, 7 in total, which is pretty good for me. And then came September and it basically ruined everything. But it was going really well at the beginning, so much so that I read two books before my mama passed away. And well, I ended up reading four in total, which is a lot considering everything. But again, I was reading quite a bit before everything happened, and then there was an overnight stay at the airport, and I survived that with a book. And I finished that book on the way back, and so on and so forth. The first book that I read in September is the Bookshop Sisterhood. This is by Michelle Lindo-Rice. And this was something that I saw randomly scrolling on the Libby app, and I thought it was going to be a really cozy, nice book to dive into. I mean, it's about a bookshop and a sisterhood, and I had really high expectations for these, or at least hopes, really high hopes. But it's definitely my least favorite book of the year. It was for me, and please know that this is all just my personal opinions, but it was a disappointment for me. It's basically a story of four friends, all female, three of which are black women, and one of them is white. And they have been friends since college, since university, and they decide to open a bookshop altogether. Of course, all of them are different. You have a really successful businesswoman that is really good with numbers, and you have a social media influencer, which is also really popular. You have a woman that has been struggling for many years, and she's not doing as well as all the other sisters, all the other friends. Three of them are actually, if not wealthy, although they are basically wealthy, but they are also doing very well in the finances department, and this one is not at all. And the other one is a career woman. Um, like the three that I just mentioned are the black women, and the white one is a career woman, with a very successful career. But all of them are dealing with very difficult situations. I think that this book should come with a number of trigger warnings. There is themes. I mean, all of them are in different stages of their relationships, but it does deal with PTSD. It deals with infertility. There's issues about adoption and self identity. There's a lot of issues around money. Um, there's some shady partners in there. Um, there's gambling. There's infidelity. There's a ton of stuff in there. Like, it was not the cozy read that I thought it was going to be. It felt more like an episode of those, Real Housewives of whatever, you know? And I have to say that I don't personally enjoy that type of TV. Um, my reality TV shows that I watch and actually enjoy are usually of the competition type rather than the drama ones. I really don't like to watch this bunch of really privileged women bickering over ridiculous stuff, and I know that a lot of people enjoy that, but I'm not one of them. If you are, then you might actually enjoy this book, but I didn't. It's really dramatic, and what bothers me the most is that pretty much all the relationships of any and all kinds in this book are really, really toxic. It's just awful. Everything in here is awful. The well, almost everything. There's a couple green flags in there, but most of everything here is really toxic, especially the friendship between these four women in every direction. It's like it's as if a man had written female friendships. Is this a stereotypical idea of what a man thinks that female friendships are? And this is actually written by a woman, so it was very disappointing. I couldn't be done with that book soon enough. I continued because, as it happens often with these kind of dramatic um, and bickering reality TV shows, you get caught up in it, and you just have to know how it ends. Or it's the train wreck that it's coming, but you cannot look away. So I had to finish it, but I didn't enjoy it very much. Not at all. So proceed at your own risk, and only if you enjoy the housewives of whatever type of reality TV, because that was awful. Then I moved on um, to A Small Town Big Magic. This is another sort of cozy fantasy, contemporary fantasy about a group of witches that obviously, live in a small town. But this one I actually did enjoy a lot. And it's the story of Emerson. She is a very driven, I think. She's a very driven woman. She runs a family bookshop in a small town. She loves her small town. She doesn't want to live anywhere else. And she is involved in everything that has to do with the town. She doesn't get along with the mayor, though. They have a feud that has gone for many, many years. And yeah, it's um, it's quite a story. But then she discovers that she is actually a witch that had her memory of magic erased. And so, what she thought was a very mundane life turns out that none of it is. All of her friends are witches like her, and there is this power hungry coven that rules the town, and there's a lot of mysteries to resolve. There is this brooding immortal that lives in the town, a lot of family drama and things, but I found it to be very entertaining. I like the characters. It was a very enjoyable read, and it had one of my favorite tropes, which is friends to lovers. And I really liked the guy that she ends up with. And I also like that the guy is also a witch, because sometimes when you get these stories about witches, they are like a clueless mortal and everything. Um, but no, this guy is also a witch. He's a healer, and it's really interesting the dynamic that they have. And I just really enjoy the book. And I've recently read number two, but this one will be in this month's wrap up because this one was from this month. Then I jumped into The Spellshop by Sarah Beth Durst, and what a beautiful, um, whimsical book it was. It's, I think, one of my favorites of this year. It has stayed with me long after I finished it. It's the story of Keela, and she is a librarian in a big city. Her best friend is a sentient spider plant called Kaz, and I really love that guy. Well, he's a plant, a sentient plant. And there is this revolution happening in the city, and they basically set the most of the city on fire, and so she has to escape from the big library, and she tries to save as many books as possible. She gets in a boat with her spider plant and then just escapes out of the city. And not knowing where to go, she decides to go back to the tiny island where she was born as a child before her parents decided to leave that isle and go live in the big city. So she decides to go back and try to start a new life in that tiny island until things in the big city calm down and she can return to her library. But as she gets into the island, she meets all the people who live there and they start a community. And it's really beautiful and cozy and interesting. And it's one of my favorite from this year. It has stayed with me for longer than many of the other books that I've read. And I am going to be jumping into the second book in that series, although they're basically standalones that happen in the same universe. They're not technically a series, but they exist in the same world basically. So I do want to read that one that was published this year, and it's called The Enchanted Greenhouse, and I want to be reading that one soon as well. But definitely one of my favorite books of this year. And then I went into another cozy witch fantasy, which is called Rewitched, and that one is by Lucy Jane Wood. And also a really enjoyable book. I adored it. It's about a witch, obviously, but in this world, witches receive their powers when they are 15 years old, and then when they turn 30, they have some sort of a trial. They call it an endarkingment, and they basically go to their coven and they have to prove what they have been learning and using their magic for over the last 15 years. And then these people decide whether or not they get to keep their powers. And so this witch has been living life normally and among regular mortals, and she ended up getting caught up in that life and not really studying or developing her powers. And so um, when she finds out that she has these trial of sorts and she has to prove everything about her magic, she obviously freaks out, and well, everything goes awry. But interestingly enough, she gets given a second chance. They give her the month of October to basically train. They give her a mentor as well to training her magic and prove that she deserves to keep her powers. Um, and it was a really nice story about believing in yourself and not giving up on the things that you love. It has a really wholesome relationships in there. I love the relationship that she has with her mom and with her best friend. It's nice and interesting. There's a little bit of romance thrown in, so it's really cool. And yeah, I really liked it. Made me very happy. And so that's basically all the things that I've read over the last couple of months. I've already finished one book for the month of October, which is Big Little Spells here, the sequel to Small Town Big Magic. And I am very close to finishing another one, which is called The London Seance Society. Very unexpected, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. Another favorite of the last couple of months, it's a game that I actually had the chance to play with my brother when we were together. It's called It Takes Two. We played it on the Xbox. It was free on his Game Pass, and it was a really, really fun game. As it says on the name, it's a game that you need two people to play it. I haven't been that engaged on a game in a really long time. The story is beautiful. It's basically a couple, and they're fighting. They're about to get divorced, and their daughter is very sad. She's very sad with the whole situation, and somehow she works a little spell. And her parents end up in the bodies of these two little toys that she made. And they basically get trapped in this fantasy world by a book that's called the Book of Love. And the book is more than decided to get them to reconciliate. So they have to go through a series of challenges, and they always have to work together. So it's definitely a game to play in co-op with someone, but it's so so good. It's very cozy. It's very beautiful. All the graphics and everything is just um, very very beautiful, and it's super entertaining. All the levels, like every adventure is different, and on every adventure you kind of get a special power or a special weapon or something that is unique to that level. So the game is not monotonous. It's not monotonous at all. It changes as you progress. And so it was very, very engaging for both me and my brother. And it made us think quite a lot. You have to be very smart with the choices that you make. And so it was really very, very fun to play. And if you have someone in your life that you actually want to play games with, I highly recommend that if you do get a chance. We both loved it, and even though I'm very generous with my ratings, with my favorites, and all that stuff, my brother is much more tough on that kind of thing. And even he really really liked it, so definitely check it out if it's something that interests you and you get the chance. So let's jump into my journal. And if you've seen my previous wrap ups, then you would have seen this cute little yellow lemony journal. And during the month of August, I was actually really good with it, keeping it up. I made this cute Leo season cover. I've been doing these with the zodiac seasons, and then I have been doing the zodiac spreads by the tarot professor, which I really enjoy. And I was keeping a practice. Um, I was keeping a daily practice of writing things that I'm grateful for, and then things that are on my mind, um, a little affirmation. I've been doing weekly cards using the Alchemy of the Spirit Oracle and the Little Frog's Guide to Self Care. And then, 3 cards a day and things like that. There's, of course, my moon readings, which I have envelopes for, and I already have a video on how I do my moon readings if you're interested. It's on the channel. And then, well, uh, yeah, I didn't actually finish here with that, but I did make a cover for August, and I did a beautiful reading for Lamas, for Lunasa. I prefer to call it Lunasa. I used these Llama's Bountiful Basket spread by the Embroidered Forest, which I really like her Sabbath's spreads. I used the Tarot of the Witch's Garden and the Seasons of the Witch Llama's Oracle for that, and I really enjoyed that. And so, well, here is my writing my spreads. This year I also did Lionheart's Lionsgate tarot spread, um, which I really enjoyed doing. I did this whole, well, this is from the thank you card um, that came with the Dreamy Moon's Tarot. I decided to use it because it looked like a gate, so I decided to use it here. And I used the Star Child Tarot Akashic Edition and the Starseed Oracle for this reading, and I actually really enjoyed it. So yeah, I kept going with all of that, and then I just, like, almost halfway through August, I basically stopped doing my journaling, especially on a daily basis, really. This is supposed to be my Virgo season cover. I have the little page from the affirmations calendar that I wanted to use for these, but I have not done that. And I actually glued together the pages that were supposed to be the Libra season spread and all of that, because I didn't do that. I did do my moon readings, but I have not done the decorating part. So I have the cards that I picked up here that I haven't really stuck in here. So there's the writing, but not decorating. And I haven't yet done the September cover. uh, but yeah, so as you can see, this is mostly full of empty pages with occasionally long form journaling. This was supposed to be my Libra season cover. I haven't yet filmed the Libra season decks video. I'm gonna try and do that before the end of Libra season because I was very excited about that series that I've been making, and I don't really want to have a gap in there. But as you can see, I have not really done anything. This was supposed to be Mavon's reading. Not there. I tried to start doing some daily journaling again, but that has not really worked. This is meant to be the cover for October, and this is supposed to be my October monthly envelope reading, which I haven't done yet. And this is meant to be a moon reading, and then I had other stuff in here, and as you can see, it's very empty and very far behind. So I don't know, I'm having a really hard time keeping up with things and going back to things. So yeah, let me show you the decks that I have been working with, and then at the very end we'll do my haul. But yeah, at the very beginning of August, during, I think it must have been Leo season, I was working with this trio of decks. I like to do my daily pulls in a triplet for some reason. And I was working with the Desert Illuminations Tarot. This is the mass market edition by US Games. paired with a Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle. This is by Ellie Grant and is published by Rockpool. And this is the Compendium of Constellations Oracle by Claire Goodchild. And I think that this was probably the most fun combination that I've had this year. I've really loved working with these decks. They are fun and out there and just like really, really cool. The biggest surprise for me was actually these Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle, which for the longest time I told myself that I didn't need it. Um, it felt like too crazy for me, but it's probably the biggest, most pleasant surprise deck wise of the year. I really love and enjoy it, and I think that I already cannot wait to pull these decks out sometime next year. And I feel like this one actually balanced them out um, really nicely. These two are a match made in heaven. They look beautiful together. They both have um, cowboys and cowgirls and aliens and bright colors, which is my favorite. And yeah, it was just really nice working with these. And I find that the messages, the guidebook for these oracle, I really like it. I think it's kind of exceptional, even. And it brought me really thoughtful readings that I super enjoyed. So, honestly, it was a big, big surprise for me. The only downside for that deck is that it only has like 36 cards. So, I really just wish that it had more. But if you have any of these decks, I highly recommend pulling them together. This one doesn't have a guidebook, and I think it's currently out of print, but thankfully, I've seen that Claire Goodchild's decks tend to come back in print at some point. It has like 90 cards. Let's see. Uh, 88 cards plus 2 star clusters. Yeah, it has 90 cards. So it's very meaty. It has a lot of things in there, and it only has one keyword. So it was like, I don't know, a cherry on top, just a last touch for any reading. It's all about the constellations rather than astrology or something. And some of the constellations are actually related to star signs, and sometimes I just don't like agree with the keyword given to the star sign. Like Leo here is defeat, and I don't really agree with that. So yeah, sometimes I struggled with that, but other than that, it's good. It's good. I still need to figure out a more effective way to use it in my collection, but yeah. And these two, I mean, I'm pretty sure that it's obvious to see just how a match made in heaven they are. So, yeah, that was the Desert Illuminations Tarot. Super fun. Love the bright colors. It comes edged with this beautiful teal color. I do find that it's already um, falling off a bit. so I'm probably gonna have to redo it. These are the bags, but I do enjoy that, and I can see myself pulling out this particular combination of decks pretty much every year. And I don't know if this tiny one will be part of the set in the future, but honestly, these ones I really love. And they come with these beautiful silver hollow edges. These are the bags. And I think I actually want to pick a card and show you how the guidebook reads, because it really was a standout for me. Okay, so we have here the engineer, and it has an affirmation at the bottom here. It says, I will make time for myself to focus without distractions. All the cards have that affirmation in there. They all have numbers as well, so they're pretty easy to find in the guidebook. The guidebook looks like this. It has a picture of the card on one side with the affirmation here. Then it has a bit of story and the message and some tips. So this one says, the engineer is off shift, relaxing when her communicator beeps. Engineering, where are you? I need the pulse defragment repaired yesterday. She leaps up, making her way to the maintenance tunnels. The ship's hulls are packed with noisy crew, but when she enters the cool, quiet tunnels, she feels calm. This is her domain. As long as she has her peace and quiet, she's confident she can solve even the most complex problem with the ship. The message. The engineer can solve any complicated problem that comes up on a starship. To work at her best, however, she needs uninterrupted time to focus and immerse herself in the task. She knows how to get into a state of flow and uses it to her advantage. Our galaxy is full of distractions. Technology is incredible and helps us in so many ways, but it can also affect our ability to focus and prevent us from working to our full potential. Next time you have a project to work on or problem to solve, try dedicating some uninterrupted time to it. Turn off your communicator, seal the hatches, and concentrate deeply on your work. Then, tips. Try spending some time without technology at your fingertips. Allow yourself to be bored and let your mind wander. It can be good to give your brain some space for your subconscious to work in the background. Consider getting some boundaries with people at home or work so they know when to leave you uninterrupted and you can get your important work done. So, yeah, that is the Cowgirls and Aliens Oracle. And as you can see, the guidebook is really, really good. And despite the fantasy theme, it's actually really grounded, I would say, very realistic. It does give you messages that deal with the day to day in a very fun way, I would say. So definitely highly recommend this one, even though it looks crazy. But it's just so good and so fun. Then after that, I tried to work with these decks. I wanted these to be my decks for Libra season. I even filmed a video of me trying to find pairings, and it's now posted on the channel. If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, this is the trio that I actually came up with. This is the Venus Morningstar Tarot. This is by Aphrodite Studios 333, an indie deck with curated art. Um, I may have to cover up some things because YouTube is being particularly annoying with nudity lately. I'm pretty sure that you have seen especially my friend Marine from the Waves of Your Soul. She has been struggling with that. And yeah, it's a problem. This is the Glyph Sacred Symbols Oracle, also an indie deck. I will leave links where to genuinely purchase the indie decks in my description box. And yeah, and this one is mass market, is the Heavenly Bodies Astrology deck. Um, I decided to trim the edges. um, I bought my copy secondhand, and the cards were all warped and stuff. And I don't know if that was because of the previous person handling it, or if it was because the cardstock just sucks. But I think it's my least favorite cardstock from the decks that I have. And so I tried trimming it to see if it would help in any way. And I like it. I like it trimmed. Um, I think this is a good pair, and I tried working with it at the beginning, but if I'm honest, with everything that has happened for me and to me this year, I am not really feeling I'm not really feeling more serious decks. I have been more drawn to things that are fun and whimsical, and I don't know, things that have brought whimsy and magic and stuff like that. And this is not particularly somber or anything, but it felt a little too serious, and I just wasn't feeling the vibe. I love these decks individually and together, and they were giving me good messages for sure, but I just wasn't in the mood for these kind of vibe. I don't know how to explain it. So I kind of fell into. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid showing the cards with nudity. But yeah. So I kind of fell into a tarot slump. And then, well, my mama passed away, and I went away to see my brother. I didn't end up working with any decks. And when I came back again, I just wasn't feeling this vibe. Not at all. But I hope that I can revisit these in the future, because this is not the deck's fault. Not at all. They're really nice. These are the bags. Um, Very well made. Especially the indie ones are super high quality. And yeah, I like them. I enjoy them. I did leave this one under really heavy books and managed to somewhat fix the warp between that and the trim that sort of maybe kind of did it. Um, I still hate that cardstock though. But yeah, I just wasn't feeling this vibe. But again, this is not the fault of the decks. It's just life, lifing and doing its thing, and I was just not having it. And when I came back um, to visit from visiting my brother, these were the decks that were kind of holding my hand through this period. And yeah, they got me back into working with my cards. This one is Hardwood by Three Trees Tarot. My box is signed by both Stephanie Burrows and Adam Ohlers. I had the privilege of meeting them in Watkins Books sometime last year, and they were kind enough to sign my box for me. And this deck is just something special. This one here, the Green Witches Oracle deck, is mass market. It's by Adding Murphy Hiscock, and it's published by Simon and Schuster. And it's quickly become a big favorite of mine. I've been using it since last year, and I simply just adore it. I ended up trimming it. Um, I trimmed the edges because it used to have very big borders that I thought were not necessary. So I ended up trimming it and edging it in green again because I edged it before I trimmed it. So I had to redo that. And this is the Into the Lonely Woods Oracle by Lucy Cavendish and illustrated by Dan May, and it's published by Blue Angel. I've also had this for a little while, a year or two, and I've been working with it, especially in the darkest half of the year. Um, but yeah, I really love it, and I find that this trio, this combination, is, I don't know, it's just really nice, very wholesome. This deck actually pairs with an incredible amount of other decks, and it has beautiful illustrations. It has keywords on the card that are very expansive. It's just really cool. It's seriously one of my favorites. The hardwood the hardwood tarot is rather special. I fell in love with the concept once Stephanie actually announced it. The whole concept of this abandoned house that has been reclaimed by nature, it was just something that really called to me. And working with this deck has felt like a very special experience. And it's healing, it's gentle, it's soft, it's I don't know. The imagery on it is both of loss and decay, and at the same time you can see all the life that has come into place in here, and it was just beautiful working with it. And Into the Lonely Woods is a deck that talks about solitude, and I think that part of the concept when it was first created was also about grief and loss. So it's been nice to have these decks holding my hand during these times. Um, a few days ago, I actually changed them for my Halloween decks that I have been waiting since last Halloween to pull out again because I do love and adore them. But this combination here was just what I needed to come back to tarot and into my practice. And it's been lovely. It really has. So, yeah. Um, very happy to have come up with these sets here and to have been working with it. Okay, so that was the last set of decks. These are the bags. I vegged mine in these olive green. That's into the Lonely Woods here. And this is the Green Witches Oracle deck. This is mass market as well. I vegged mine in green. After trimming it, I did trim the edges, the borders a little bit because they were very wide. These are the bags. It's very pretty. One of my favorites. Highly recommended. And of course, the wonderful hardwood. It doesn't come edged, and I haven't edged mine because I'm afraid of ruining it. Stephanie prints her decks in like a special kind of paper and everything, so it's eco-friendly and all of that, and I am just terrified of ruining the deck, so I have not etched it. And so for the last bit of this video, the last thing that I have to show you is my deck haul, which I do have to admit that is a little overboard, but I am a Taurus sun, and I would not be a good Taurus if I didn't indulge in a little shopping, especially in times of great distress, Great sorrow comes with an equally big treating myself, right? So one of the decks that I got is the Luna Lapan Tarot and Oracle cards. This is the genuine version. I showed in a previous video that I have, unfortunately, the counterfeit edition. And after making that video, I realized that it had been a while since I checked on the original version. It comes with these exquisite silver hollow edges, and I hadn't checked on it for a while. It's still in order because, well, I haven't worked with it, so yeah. And I decided to have a look again, and they still had it in stock in Tevada, and it wasn't as expensive as I remember it to be. So I decided that it was time to pull the trigger and get the actual genuine edition, because this is a deck that I really love, and now I don't have to feel guilty when working with it. These are the bags, and they are different than the original Luna Lapan edition. These are exclusive to the Tarot and Oracle set. This set has a number of Oracle cards that are extra. And yeah, now I have the super high quality and beautiful edition of this deck. And it does come like all of these. This chunk here is Oracle cards. And they are very beautiful. So I'm very happy to actually have the genuine edition of this deck, and now I don't have to feel guilty when I want to work with it. And it comes with a thick note guidebook, and a really high quality box. This is beautiful and fantastic. And yeah, I got this one. Also, I am I have been very influenced by my friend Maureen at the Waves of Your Soul. Watching her videos is just really bad for my bank account, and thank all the gods for PayPal paying 3 because I had to do a Vermilion Collection haul, and I got myself 4 decks from their site. Um, Let me show them to you. This one I had never seen before. I saw it on her channel first. It's The Whisper of Stars and Garden Tarot. This is by Chain J. And yeah, it's by a Chinese creator. But this deck is just absolutely gorgeous. It's so artistic. This is the. There's 3 different editions of this deck. This is the blue one. I cannot remember. It comes with these beautiful blue edges. These are the backs. I cannot remember the specific name of this one. It might be the Stars edition or something. Also, in order, I have not worked with it, but this is just absolutely beautiful. It's very artistic, and that's what caught my eye. All the cards are like paintings, and it's just gorgeous. This reminds me of Poseidon in the Percy Jackson Chronicles, and it's just beautiful. This is one of my favorite lovers cards in any deck. I just adore it, and I just had to get it. I had to. It had to be done, and I can't wait to eventually pull it out at some point. It does have some extra um, cards, and the suits are in like 4 different um, worlds or environments. These the ones feel very Arabic inspired, and it's beautiful. The cups, gorgeous in this water realm, just so beautiful. Look at the swords, just stunning. And of course, the earth. And this has all these beautiful, I don't know, fairy like creatures, and it's just gorgeous. Like, can you even? And these ones, each edition has 2 cards that are specific to that deck. These are the ones for this one. I suppose that is some kind of incentive to have everyone collect them all. I don't have the money for that, but I appreciate it. Um, yeah, the guidebook comes half in English and half in Chinese, and it is printed in color. It's very beautiful. I can't wait to work with it. Then, one that I have been coveting for a long time, which is the Land of Stories Tarot. Marine has shown these many times on her channel. It's one of her favorites of previous years. And this is basically based on fairy tales. So, of course, I had to have it. Also, still in order and all that jazz. These are the bags. They're beautiful, though I'm not sure that they have a lot to do with the fronts, but this is a beautiful deck. It does not come edged. I have to think on how I'm going to edge mine, but I adore this deck. The illustrations are just gorgeous and whimsical. They have the titles in Chinese and in English. And something that I really like about these illustration style is that they all kind of look like dolls. Not in a creepy way. Oh, so beautiful. But they all kind of look like dolls with those cheeks because they have these um, round sort of cheeks. And everything is inspired. I adore this star card. I mean, come on. Look at that. Oh, I just love it. And that song card. How beautiful. This I just love this deck and I had to have it. So when I placed my order with Vermilion Collection, which is the only place that I've seen this deck available, um, I had to get this deck, and I really like it. So yeah, another one that I cannot wait to work with it eventually, and it's a perfect addition for my fairy tale decks collection. Love it. That's the Land of Stories Tarot. And then I had to get this one. This is a newer one. I've seen it in a couple channels. It's the Storyboard Tarot. And again, I had to get it. The idea, I find it's very original, very beautiful. Also has a guidebook that is half in Chinese and half in English. Unlike the others, the Chinese bit is at the beginning. And look at these. This is a kitty in the bottom of the box, and in the bottom of the lid you have a panda. Like, how cute is this? Ugh. Gorgeous deck. These are the backs. Some of my favorites. I adore this. Lots of gold foil. It's just so beautiful. It doesn't come edge, so methinks that I'm going to attempt pastel pink. But yeah, this is beautiful. And it's very enchanting. It has the titles both in Chinese and in English, and all of the elements are separated into these different squares, like a comic book. That's why it's called the Storyboard Tarot. And I really, every time that I've seen this one, I was like, I need it. It's just very different and beautiful. I realized that I didn't used to have a lot of contemporary decks, but that is changing somewhat quickly for some reason. And this is just the perfect addition to it. And even though this is technically very modern, maybe the illustration style reminds me of a anime that I used to watch as a child. In Latin America, it's called Candy Candy. And I don't know. I just I just felt drawn to it, like I needed to have it. And I'm still traumatized by that anime. If you know about Anthony, then you know about Anthony. But I loved it. I loved watching it, and this reminded me of it, even though this is much modern than that was. But yeah, it's a beautiful deck. Um, if you want me to do a walkthrough of any of these things, just leave me a comment and I'll be working on those things when I get a chance. Yeah, that's the Storyboard Tarot. And the last deck that I got from them, from Vermilion Collection, is the Dream Visions Tarot third edition. This is the Seed of Light edition. I've been meaning to get this deck, but money and stuff, and I didn't get on time for the pre order. So when I saw the Vermilion Collection had it, I just had to jump on it. This is one of those decks that I never felt drawn to at the beginning, but then when the creator made this particular edition, it just felt too alien to me before. All the characters and stuff. But then she made it on this colorway, and these colors are just everything, and it sort of changed everything for me. I suddenly felt drawn. Oh, look how beautiful. I suddenly felt drawn to this deck, which I didn't have before. I adore the High Priestess. And I do understand now what some people say, that they see these beings as being the divine, the spirit, goddesses, gods and goddesses, sorry, and things like that. And I understood. It feels like a deck to talk with the divine. It really does feel like you're talking to a higher power when you use this deck. So it's been beautiful, and it's on a smaller size, so feels very nice for my tiny hands. It has these gorgeous silver holographic details on the back, and it comes with these bright yellow edges, and it's just beautiful. And I'm just really happy that they had it and that I got to buy it from them. And yeah, just really happy with this purchase. Again, thank all the gods for PayPal paying 3. And what else? Again, Marine is a terrible influence on me. I had to get this deck. I first saw it on her channel. This is the Mirasol and Casey of the Year Tarot deck. This is by US Star Wheel Systems. US Star Wheel Games Systems. I have no idea what they're called like that, because this is actually a Chinese company. But it comes in this really sturdy box, very Los Carabeos style, but it's really beautiful. This is the standard edition. I have come to really love these creators. I have a couple of other decks from them. The Fantasy Night Theater Tarot, which I have a walkthrough of in my channel, and the Forest Spirit Imprint Tarot. And they're high quality, and I really like them. This is the book, half in English, half in Chinese. It has beautiful color illustrations. It's just gorgeous. It comes with these extra card. These are the backs. Look how beautiful. And it does have an extra full card. And again, it's in order, haven't worked with it. But this is the type of decks that have really been special for me this year. This is the story of a little girl living her best life with her kitty. Although there are some fantastic characters in some of these cards, especially the cords. But this is just the most wholesome thing ever. This is me. I'm always kissing my cats and they hate it. But I am kissing them anyway. But yeah, this is the most wholesome thing ever. This card, oh my god, I can't. But yeah, you see winged kitties here. there are some fantastic characters in some of the cards, but it's mostly the little girl and her kitty, and it's just everything. I can't wait to work with this because it's the most wholesome thing ever. I had to have it. Look at these. The chords are all fantastic like that. Oh, I can't. Um, but yeah, it's just really cute. I can't. And there are other two decks from this company that I want to get, but that's gonna have to wait. My copy, I don't know why it came with these. I don't know. It's like someone just scratched it with something. But anyways, um, there are at least a couple decks from this company that I still want to get, but that's gonna have to wait for a little while, I think. But I'm just very happy that I got these one. And the last of the indie decks is this one over here. This is the card postal tarot. It's created, I think that the lady is called Jane Kutisma, I think. This is number 179 out of 500. I know that there is a lot of things surrounding this deck. The creator did not go about it the best possible way, and it's still in order. I am going to film a walkthrough of these that I hope to post soon. Um, but this is a collage deck that she created using old postcards, and I've been wanting to have it for a few years, but it just wasn't possible. And now the creator's son actually put the rest of the decks for sale on Etsy. Again, I will be leaving the links where you can purchase the genuine decks on the description box. And I was finally able to get it. So if you have seen that listing and if you're wondering if it's genuine, it is. And I will be making a walkthrough of these um, for the channel very soon. The other decks that I got are all mass market. I'm not gonna go into great detail on all of them. This one is new, the Barbie Oracle. I grew up with Barbie and I love the movie, so I'm not sure how I'm going to use this, but I'm gonna find a way to use it in my practice probably next year. I do want to film a walkthrough for the channel, and I don't know when I'll get to that, but I'll get to that. This is by Running Press, and it's actually really cool. So yeah, I got that one. And then for spooky season, I got these two, which I have been wanting for a while. This was needed especially for the fairy tale collection, the Lost Oracle and the Earth and Bone Oracle by City and Shadow. These are both Rockpool publications, and I will definitely be using them for spooky season. And then a couple of these minis that I actually adore, the Forest Fae and the Whispering Woods, um, that I also got for the darkest half of the year, and they just feel so appropriate. But I had you here for a really long time, and I don't want to keep you here forever. So Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. I've had you here for such a long time that even my candle went out. So I won't keep you here any longer, but thank you so much for watching. I know that this was a very long video, but I hope that you still enjoyed it and that, um, I don't know, that you found some books that you would like to read or um, some decks that you might like for your collection. If you want me to make a walkthrough of any of the decks that I showed here today, just leave it in the comments and I'll work on that for the near future. I'm going to try and be more consistent with my posting. I have a lot of tags that I wanted to get to and I haven't, so I'm going to try to catch up on all of that stuff. And I also have some fun plans for my second channel. It's called Guided by Your North Star, and I read cards for others on that channel. And one of the things that I want to do is um, year ahead readings for all the signs when it's their season. And I have my first one that's kind of planned for all the Libras out there. And I'm gonna be working on that and on other fun stuff like that as well. So, yeah, there are fun things to look forward to. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. And now there is a new function on YouTube to hype channels, and I would really appreciate it if you could do something like that. It would help me out um, as a creator. And if you want to support me as a creator, I have my coffee link in the comments and on my bio. Never expected, but always appreciated. And thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. And I hope to see you again soon. Bye bye.